Hello everybody, this is my Commander EDH deck tech for Sythis Harvest's Hand. I've been playing Enchantress for quite some time now. I remember watching the professor's video in 2016 about Melissa Del Toro's Karametra God of the Harvest deck, and I built an Enchantress deck then and have been playing it ever since. And finally in Modern Horizons 2, we finally get our first Enchantress Commander for green-white. I've had Sigarda in here in the past. I've had Karametra, Selvala, Yasharn, all sorts of green-white commanders, but Sythis is clearly the best one. And I'm going to go through the deck and the different categories of cards that we have and show you guys what it's all about. So, it is an Enchantress deck, so we'll start off with the Enchantresses themselves. All of the good ones are here: Setessan Champion, Eidolon of Blossoms, Argothian Enchantress, Satyr Enchanter, Verduran Enchantress, Mesa Enchantress, and Enchantress's Presence. Redundancy is great. Sometimes Sythis gets removed a bunch of times and costs like 8 mana or something like that, and you really just want a cheaper version. And these do great work in tandem, drawing you multiple cards per enchantment cast. Up next, we have our mana ramp / cards that get us lands. We have Wild Growth and White Border, which I hate, but I'll be getting a Black Border one sometime soon. Utopia Sprawl, Fertile Ground, Overgrowth, Weirding Wood, and Omen of the Hunt. All of these either enchant lands or in Omen of the Hunt's case goes and gets us a land. I will be adding a Wolf Willow Haven, I believe, from Theros in here. That card's just better than Weirding Wood, and I will be adding it to the deck soon. Land Tax, Exploration, and Burgeoning are great additions. Burgeoning is super cool. On turn 1, you can play Burgeoning, and if you have a bunch of other lands in play, all of your opponents just go land pass, and you end up on turn 2 with 4 lands in play, ready to play Sythis, and get the train rolling on casting some enchantments. Exploration is just great. Land Tax is good. Oftentimes, as you saw, I'm enchanting lands, so I might have less lands than an opponent, especially if they're playing green, and just being able to tutor up some lands to put into play with these two cards is a great move. Last pieces of ramp here, we have Sanctum Weaver. It is Sarah's Sanctum on a stick, I believe. I do not have the money for that land, so Sanctum Weaver will have to do, and it does a great job of it. We also have Colony Heart Expedition and Mana Bloom. Mana Bloom is going to be cut for a Flickering Ward or a Whip Silk soon. The idea with Mana Bloom is that you pay X equals 0, so it bounces back to your hand every turn to continually draw cards with Sythis or another Enchantress. But there are better effects in enchantments out there that cost 1 and can bounce themselves as an activated ability. Colony Heart Expedition is great. Just a pet card of mine. I like landfall. Being able to get lands is fun. And yeah, it could probably be cut for something better like a Cultivate or a Kodama's Reach or another enchantment land effect. But this is what we've got right now. Onto the removal package. I've got plenty of things that remove our opponent's stuff, so let's just get into it. I have Darksteel Mutation, Song of the Dryads, Grasp of Fate, which is an Oblivion Ring for all players, Cast Out as an instant speed way to remove something, On Thin Ice, just really cheap. I have all snow basics in here, so On Thin Ice should be able to be cast. Quarantine Field and Out of Time are our board wipes of the deck. Quarantine Field costs a lot of mana, but it can remove lots of stuff. And Out of Time just phases out everything, which is amazing. We will phase out our own creatures as well, which is something to note. So Out of Time is really kind of like an emergency valve removal spell for an opponent who goes off with a bunch of creatures. I also have Seal of Cleansing and Seal of Primordium is just ways to get rid of artifacts and enchantments. They're great because you can play them early with an Enchantress out, draw a card, and then later in the game when someone plays an Aetherflux Reservoir or a Smothering Tithe, you can get rid of it. So there we go. On to the next package, which is the kind of like taxing, slow down the game kind of package. I also have some cards in here that like prevent people from attacking, protect my stuff like that. So Smothering Tithe, you know it, you love it, love to hate it. Snow Snare, Karmic Justice, Blind Obedience there. We also have Authority of the Consuls, Root Maze, Light Minefield, Sphere of Safety, and Ghostly Prison. Ghostly Prison and Sphere of Safety need no introduction. Light Minefield, however, is an interesting one. It prevents people from going wide, so if they attack with 4 creatures, they will all take 4 damage, and if they attack with 100 creatures, they will all take 100 damage. So, really good way to prevent people from going wide and killing you. Authority of the Consuls, Blind Obedience, and Root Maze are good. These two are only for your opponents, but this one is symmetrical, so you do have to be wary of having your lands come in tapped. But it is 1 mana, and it slows the game down, and that's exactly what we want to do. Smothering Tithe, as I said, needs no introduction. Soul Snare is a great little rattlesnake card, preventing people from attacking you. You can play it early, draw a card off of it, and then when someone attacks you with their big creature, Voltron Commander, you can exile it. Karmic Justice, if they remove something of yours, you get to remove their lands specifically, is what I usually like to go for, but it can also remove anything else. Just a great little Pillow Fort style card. Onto the protection pieces, we have Classic Heroic Intervention, as well as Sterling Grove and Privileged Position. If you have a Greater Oromancy, I'd play it. I just do not own one, and the card is a little pricey, so Privileged Position is what we're rocking. Sterling Grove can also be sacrificed in a pinch to tutor for an enchantment. We also have, in terms of protection, Allseed of Life's Bounty, Sigarda Host of Herons, and Avacyn Angel of Hope. Avacyn is amazing, gives everything indestructible, really powerful card. Sigarda makes it so we cannot sacrifice things, which is excellent, and used to be the commander of the deck. It's just a pet card of mine, just really fun card. And Allseed can protect something as a one-off effect, and it's an enchantment, so draws us cards. All right, moving on to the hate pieces. Not necessarily removal, but just ways to hate on opposing strategies. We have Ground Seal, Suppression Field, Aura of Silence, and Stony Silence. These two hate on artifacts. This one is activated abilities, so think like Super Friends or creatures or artifacts. And then Ground Seal hurts graveyard strategies. And as a last piece of hate, we do have Overwhelming Splendor, just to throw it on someone who's getting really threatening, and if they don't have a spell that can remove this, they're just going to probably be locked out of the game if they're a creature deck. Things like Reclamation Sage can't even get rid of it because it doesn't have any abilities when it comes into play, and it's just a great way to really slow someone down and force them to remove this before they can continue playing the game. We have a small tutor package as well with Enlightened Tutor, Eladamri's Call, and Idyllic Tutor. Eladamri's Call is great. It is a creature tutor, but it can also tutor up one of the angels that we have if we have a plethora of mana late in the game, or it can get an Enchantress. And these two just get enchantments and enough said, right? Onto our draw/card advantage package, we do have Sylvan Library, Abundance, Miri's Guile, Calyx, Destiny's Hand, and Auramancer. Just cards that just sort through cards and find stuff on the top of our library, get stuff back from the graveyard. Calyx can also remove something, and its ultimate, if you could get it, is Replenish, which is amazing. And yeah, just good value cards. And last but not least, we have our win conditions. Ancestral Mask is a great card to win the game. Put it on a big creature, make it huge, and close out games fast. We can also make some tokens with Lumark Ascension, Sigil of the Empty Throne, and Sandworm Convergence. Great ways to make tokens and clean up games very quickly. Sandworm Convergence is also great because it prevents flying creatures from attacking us. We also have an Approach of the Second Sun. Ignore the signature by Noah Bradley. I got it signed by him at a convention a while back when I played this card in Standard, and learned after the fact that he is a bad person. So, but regardless of that, great way to win the game, sitting behind a pillow fort. And yeah, just a good, clean way to end a game. I also have a Gold Border Replenish in here. It is Gold Border, so I do let people know when I play that I do have a proxy card in there, and if they're not cool with it, I swap it out with the 6-mana version. Open the Vaults, I believe. Whatever it is, this usually just wins the game in a pinch. You bring back tons of enchantments, great way to recover from a board wipe and just get a ton of value. On to the lands. We do have some colorless lands that do some work for us. In Reliquary Tower, Hall of Fuide's Generosity, and Blighted Woodland. Blighted Woodland is just explosive vegetation on a stick, not bad. Hall of Fuide's Generosity gets enchantments back, and this keeps our hand size to have no maximum, so we can draw plenty of cards and not worry about discarding any. We also have plenty of dual and fetch lands here. We have Yavimaya, Windswept, Prismatic Vista, Canopy Vista, Temple Garden, Scattered Groves, Bountiful Promenade, Command Tower, Brushland, Horizon Canopy, Sunpetal Grove, and Wooded Bastion. Just good 2-color lands. Lots of them come in untapped. A couple of them come in tapped with stipulations like Sunpetal Grove and whatnot. And I have 9 snow-covered forests and 11 snow-covered plains. as well as 2 modal dual-facing cards in Balagate Recovery and Amiria's Call. Just great spells, and also their lands on the backside, so can't really complain there. And that is it. Some cards that I'm going to add to this deck are Destiny Spinner and Whip Silk and Flickering Ward. Just great little enchantments that bounce themselves to repeatedly trigger Sythis, and Destiny Spinner is a win con and also protects your stuff from getting countered. So that is the deck tech. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.